The highest sums of all have been spent by the US, which has appropriated and allocated a total of $4.9 trillion for war-related costs between 2001 and 2019. Military spending averages 3.5% of GDP in this period, but reaches a peak of 4.7% of GDP in 2010.
The Afghan War has been paid for mostly on our credit card, the Great National Credit Card, because there hasn't been, a tax dedicated to it. So basically, it's just going on to the deficit, and interest on the debt related to U.S. wars is now $150, $200 billion a year. And in fact, eventually our interest on the debt is going to be bigger than the Pentagon budget.
$2 trillion has been spent on overseas contingency operations, of which at least $975 billion has been spent in Afghanistan, even more than was spent in Iraq.
It's a separate budget stream. It's not scrutinized as carefully as the regular Pentagon budget. They throw a bunch of things in there that aren't related to the wars just because they can.
By avoiding paying for the war via regular taxation, it becomes easier to avoid public criticism.
If people knew what these things were going to cost, if they knew that there's thousands of dollars coming out of their taxes every year to pay for this war, there'd be more resistance. But if you throw it on the deficit, there's no immediate economic pain to the taxpayer.
Veteran care is another huge cost. Thanks to modern medicine, fewer soldiers are killed in battle today, and many more survive even with serious wounds. But long-term care and support are needed more than ever.
The Veterans Administration is now the second largest agency in our government other than the Pentagon, spending over $200 billion a year, and they can't even keep up with all the things that our vets need.
The cost of war for veterans as individuals and their families is high. It comes in the way of physical disabilities, but also cognitive disabilities such as post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injuries. In addition to the physical injuries, we are observing that cognitive injuries are just as debilitating, if not more.
Afghanistan war veterans face higher rates of mental illness, drug and alcohol addiction, car crashes and homelessness, more than the rest of society. Their families endure higher rates of divorce, domestic violence and child abuse.
We hear quite a bit about the 22-a-day suicides that have been reported for service members, but what we're noticing now is that even family members, spouses, and children of service members that have been in this war for so long are also resorting as an actual solution to suicide.
The United States has already spent $160 billion providing medical care and disability benefits, and the war hasn't even ended yet.